All right, YouTube, how we doing? How we doing? We are kind of like ecstatic, ecstatic, like electricity, electrified. Especially in the things where we come across. So I got to go back again. It actually started with the crows, okay? With the crows and everything. And I pulled up and, just in case people weren't into the nature or anything like that, or trying to understand just the different little sounds or, big sounds, gawkings inside the background, which is really forefront that we push away because of our own thoughts or our agendas and everything. And what was crazy about it with the crows, and I didn't think about it again until I rose up today, is that a couple of things. When my half sister Dito, I call her Dito, it wasn't me that called her that. Actually, it was Damien, because he couldn't say Nisha, so he called her Dito. So we kept Dito with her, for a little while, as a reminder of her being a toddler. And so Dito, whenever she was mad at me, she called me a black crow. And, at first, we know every response and everything. We took that and we call it, black for one, in the sense of, how we felt, or I felt it anyway. I'm not going to say how, everybody feels it differently. But how I felt it at that point in time was like death, black, nasty, dirty Dreck. Dreck is dirt in German, I guess. Not I guess, but that's what it is. That's why I say Dreck. And so, and, she's actually, we had 2 lighties and 2 darkies inside of the family unit and everything, you know what I'm saying? Or 3 lighties and 3 darkies, or caramel color, as we would say. And so she was part of the lighties and everything, Eugene, Rosa, Prima Rosa, Mama, and that of and Tito, so they wanted to go ahead. That's the first inside of the family separation of color and so forth. Inside of people, a lot of people's minds anyway, not everybody's. People's, or even nouns. You know what I'm saying? Companies, person, places, or things. These are the separations and everything. As we find out inside the workplace, and even amongst there. It pops into mind right now to where this girl Stephanie, she was she was one I was actually talking to for a little while, and only in the sense of this, because it was prompted. It was prompted, by Sarita. We were sitting up here talking, and everybody says, "So what about DeVere? Would you like to go for DeVere? He seems nice," or something to those lines and everything, And so that, and planting a seed in my head and all kind. Anyway, that whole scenario with that right there went all bad, to the left, right, up, down. Blah. But came back around, and even in all of that, what had happened, she went to go ahead and get that the BBL, with the, she wanted a lot of Spanish, but not just Spanish. It depends on your body type, where you don't necessarily have an ass, so you go ahead and get these BBLs and everything, and and she was inside there getting it, and I don't know if things went well or not. Hey, I'm just being cordial because we're at work. I'm not trying to fuck up the work, at all, regardless of whatever went on, you know. And so, anyway, and within a couple of days of what about DeVere, you know, she had said in the lunchroom, she said, DeVere's almost like one of us. And I was, I was like, it blew me away and shit. Almost like one of us, you know? And I mean, not like I was trying to be one of anybody, you know? Anybody or click in like that, hey, we learn a little bit from each other. We even intermarry and become one another and everything. And especially with that within the melanation of the Hispanic, and of the melanated, as we call them, black people. Okay. And the reason why I shy away from the house, the black word and everything, because it is considered, death in law and everything. And, that's why they call it Black's Law Book and the house of lack. So it's a house of lack of mentality. So this is how we are dead in that when we step into that crossover into that ship, into the gate and everything inside the courtroom, because we don't know as the uh, 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 video today that I put up on here, uh, is teaching the Moorish rights, Circle 7 rights, that of Noble Drew Ali, and they went through everything. They just telling you everything. And so, again, for the most part, I didn't even get to read the whole book. I just got a indicium of that book because it was somebody else's. And it took me a few notes out of that. But for the greater part, lo, it says, lo, I come in the volume of the book. So therefore, if we don't necessarily, these tidbits and everything as far as uh, videos, like we're saying, like the brother Radiohead was saying, 363, he says, people, because the book is so long to read, people don't necessarily want to go ahead and read. They'd rather have a 15-minute, give me a quick buzz, whether it'll be like a beer shot, or give me a shot, a 3-second shot, and you don't have any substance. You don't have any substance. And like she was saying inside of there, it's etymology. So the thing I was looking at or wanting to, as you probably can see, maybe not. Maybe we can't see just yet. You got the fish scales are still over your eyes and ears, you know, and you don't want to because we still have a mission and everything. And each of us have our missions. So, but at the same time, what she was stating is, hey, the main thing is that of arithmetic and etymology. And the thing about that is like, and what it basically is reverse, oh, dang, what's the word I'm looking for? Engineering, reverse engineering. And you just simply apply it how it comes to you. Because even a lot of the things that she was stating, even inside of there, that is for the general people to go ahead and grasp and utilize those tools in that thought form of thought, okay, in which they're even, one part I didn't necessarily agree with, and to each his own. Again, it's a unification. It's a unification of, and it's past color. It's past color. Okay, why? Because it just tells you color is fake. Color is fake. And that's the reason why. So even though Colorado has a Highway 66, it didn't make sense for Colorado to go into Santa Monica Pier, which ends up Route 66. But what that shows you is that even 66 and 66 are right in conjunction with each other. The route itself, or which is called, evidently, like they said, it's there also. They always want to start you. The lady said they always want to start you in the book of Ruth. In the book of Ruth, which is the root, which is in Hebrew, or Ivrit, and route is the same thing. The root and route and everything. And so all those things, and even on Route 66, see, what they did is the midway point from Illinois, from Chicago, from Chicago, Illinois. The midway point ends up to be, and you can look it up. I put it up there once before, and it's the transition of whether it be so-called the black and the white, or Caucasian. And even you gotta look at the word, reverse that word, Caucasian. So which came first? Probably the Asian came and then the Caucasoid. Probably. All right. So you're gonna see a leg up there on a lampshade, So basically they're saying, make sure you put, a lampshade over your skins because you're in the middle. This is the halfway point of Route 66, all right? Before it continues on here to Cali and then ends up in Santa Monica, and Huntington Beach has a little portion of it too. So all those things are inside of each of our jurisdictions in which we have been assigned to, or we've grown up in, and even allotted to via the 12 federal districts. 10 federal districts. It might be 12, but it's 10 regions. It's 10 kings. Revelation. It's 10 kings. And so, as they were pointing out also, as the sturgeon moon is revealing all this ancient wisdom, all right, that end of Daniel, Dan, tribe of Dan, which is not in the book of Revelation. And we wonder why. Okay? Now, Dan also, could be NAD. NAD is Nod, but when you go ahead and put that I on there, put Nadi, okay? I met a Nadi up inside of Tanzania when I was there. He was the only one that said, fucking, hey, let me leave this brother alone. But he was cool. He was doing his little thesis, his paper. He was telling me about it. It was cool. And see, the Nadis come back to we have 114 Nadis when we go over to that of India, and breaking down the body also, which are titans. We call them titans over here, 72 titans, doubled up. And we have that of the masculine and feminine. So we're going to bring us back to 114. And that's crazy, 114 with the surahs and so forth, because that is part of the body. 1414 on the clock, and I would not believe it right now. 14. It's triple up on the 14s. I could not believe that. I could not have timed that. Did not look down at the clock. This is what I'm saying as far as being in sync with yourself. That's being in sync with yourself, who is projecting and giving all of this beautiful sunshine out here. See what I'm saying? All this beautiful sunshine. Where's she at? All right? All this beautiful sunshine. So, yeah. And as she was stating, I can't remember her name right now. There's a lot of things. The reason why it's, you know, tied up under the ground because this is commerce. They had to go ahead and take this over and everything. You know, the jealous, the J-E, which is the beginning part of Jesus, and they come from the Basa language, okay? But it actually means jealous. J-E means jealous, okay? Then we got A-L, so who is Al or La? That's feminine if you look at it that way. And then Al, that's on every name of the 99 names of Allah, okay? In a general sense, you might have an A-S, but in a general sense, it's A-L, all right? And so what happens is, Jeal, right? Or A-L. Then that you continue with that Lu, L-O-U. These are the Lu people that we went ahead from Tanzania and from Kenya and Uganda, and we got, I put that video up there, I believe also, to where they went into even more depths because they were not necessarily taught this also, not necessarily. A lot of them are just out there, they know the general, we hold together, stick together on a lot of things, but not necessarily how and when things happen in my different migrations, And even as the lady again who was teaching the class, she went ahead and said, when they put it into action, different things were put into action, the dates and everything that was given. One was 1884, and I think she said she said Switzerland. At the same time, I'm thinking along the same lines that this was also with that of the Berlin Conference in Nuremberg. So there might have been a different name at that time, even to some of the dates that everyone has been given as far as birth dates, May 5th, 1940, 1933, was it? 1944, I believe she said, was May 5th, was that, I want to say 33, was the day in which they actually took away the gold and everything, the gold standard, and put it into coinage, and then Nixon, and then forget what year, I want to say the 70s or 50s or something like that, but the Coinage Act came in and took away the coinage and everything. So, these coins held some weight when we used that and everything, if they were really completely out of nickel, not a wooden nickel, okay, but a silver nickel, or a full copper penny, or that of even, gold coins. So all that, the Coin Act went out because even on the coins themselves, it's told Wahrheit, which is truth in German. It told, Troth, meaning like the root of how things happen. It showed a lot. Showed a lot of the faces and everything. And that was another reason why they did away with the coinage and everything, because it showed you the faces that, the faces that we have on the different ones right now. Those were not the faces. Or they would project on there to go ahead and put a different face on there to go ahead and throw the route off, so it doesn't even come back to those of the negative Hebrons, negative doo-doo browns, So it is up to each of us to go ahead and do our due diligence, that the man or woman, we'll go ahead and say woman first, of God, man of God, be thoroughly equipped, ready to fight every, and necessarily ready to fight, but be thoroughly equipped that man or woman be not deterred or bamboozled, even with teachings that a lot of things that come in, even with everything that you learn from these people, you have to go. Like the lady and everybody there, even inside the brown right there, you have to go ahead and look at those things because it breaks down even further. And she tells you how. She tells you, with the basics and everything there that she's talking about. She tells you how, And she even said, hey, when we go over to China, that's a little bit different and everything, meaning a lot different to what they're saying right there. So even inclusive inside of that one, they give you a yin and yang even inside of that, the ching ching. And she used the word ching too. You know what I'm saying? So if you go ahead and, like I said, whatever it is, whatever route, and the only one inside of our family that I think that actually did that, I'm not sure, but is that of Cassandra. She went over there, went ahead and studied some Chinese, and she's liaison for fucking, I think the company name that I don't know if she's still with them or not, but she went into a company after she graduated from, it might have been Fresno State, is, what's that food place? It's a food place, Trader Joe's. And we see now where the Joe comes in, okay, because the Joe Nama, okay, are connected to that of Joram, or even Jonah, okay, the Joe, the G.I. Joe, right, which is it's a military. This is really for America. It's not necessarily with the police eye, but it does be with the she riff. You want to riff. That's the reason why. Hey, Bob Marley said, "I she riff," because the she, the negative she was riffing with him, so he shot him, her, on with the sword, okay. And that sword is everything because we are serpentine and it's words. But I did not kill the deputy. And who is that sheriff? Who? John Brown. That's what I said. Masculine, feminine. Jean Brown. And that feminine of that is going to be Eugenia. So we're still talking DNA. We're still fucking talking genes. We're still talking DNA. All right. And with the splicing and mixing, like I say, whether it be Caucasian to, to the Moreno. Moreno is a word with the Spanish and everything, but you have Ren. Ren actually comes from that of China. And so even inside the Arab, the place across the street here where I go and, get a soda here and there or something like that, Sam, they put up there, Sam. And in Spanish, there's one guy is Spanish inside of there, and the other guy is Arab and everything. He wanted me to actually write out the letters in Arabia because, he didn't believe it. I was like, wow, yeah, I know a little bit. He said, wow, he ran to go get it, write out the letter. I want to say, I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And everything. First of all, I have respect for him, and because it's, it brings life. And I have to brush up myself, even if I was to go ahead and do with the show you about the letters and so forth. Show you that I do understand it. But the two, like I was saying, the point of that, and so the other Spanish brother, I was talking to him in Spanish a little bit, and then I don't know if he knew all the ways Spanish good or not, because he said, no Spanish. But then he said, okay, habla español. So I told him a little bit too. And see that what I was saying, the Moreno, okay? The Ren is that of Chinese. And even so that with the Arabia, with him and Spanish and Arabic, a lot of people mix. Okay, all right. So with the store right there, even with the word, the name of the store is Sam. Okay, and Sami, we know that right here in the 99 names here, Sami, you know, uh, actually is Mas, which is Spanish. So both of them are sitting inside the store there, and I'm pretty sure they know the basic and everything, but for the most part, a lot of them don't. A lot of them don't, you know, and but at the same time, a lot of them do because I see them going to school. I see them getting off even in Beverly Hills, going to school, right down the street off of Bundy, not too far from Bundy in Santa Monica. There's a stop right there where a lot of people getting off going to school. A lot of them just before UCLA, the campus itself, will get off at a certain spot, pretty much passing churches, certain spot and everything because they're going to school, to learn all of the things that we're talking about, just like she's teaching them inside of the class that we're talking about, that we're talking about right now. To whatever degrees that everybody's knowing their part with inside of the 192 joint revolution, House joint revolution to go ahead, resolution to go ahead and access the land here and maintain it to that of their divine authority, okay? Their divine authority and agenda. So all of those things, regardless, even though you learn it from whoever you learn it from, you still have a choice inside to go inside there and even, you were written with all those things inside of your heart. What they're doing is they're telling, because they separated the heart from the brain and everything by foods, by this, by killing generations. 19 again. Haiti, 19-year war. Fucking Vietnam, 19.5. Fucking Afghanistan, 19.7, 197, which is like with Yeshua. Okay? All right, so, in Ivrit, numerical value. And that is even given in Joshua 10. That's given in Joshua 10. All right? So where all of these, they come together and they're warring and everything against 5 kings. And so back to that Joe again. See again? Back to that Joe. Because Josh was Joshing. That's a Josh, they just Jeffing and everything. Meaning Joshing, on a shua, on a covenant, which was written inside this Bible, Bible, or and you can say libel because it says rightly dividing the word of truth. So if it's all truth, then why should we have to divide it, right? And not to take it like she's saying, so literal, and a thing of, paradise or paradies and everything, you have it in a straight talk, literal sense, because you got implicative, okay? Then you got Razael, and that's thing, which means secret. Okay, it's hidden secrets. All right? And then Sod, again, back to Sod, and that's the same Sod letter in the Arabia, okay, of Alif, of La'am, of Min, and Sod. Okay, Sod. So that's the same Sod, meaning secret, in which you got to have wit. You have to have wit for witch to be even that word of witch, you know. And the ch is that of or kh sound, which is that of life. So this is what the February was, you know, the women in a general sense, and especially sometimes in a negative, you know, did go ahead and brew up some things, you know, and we see it being women because it's down to 28 days, which is that of the woman's cycle, okay? And it's also the numerical value of man, as woman equals 66. So all of the reverse engineering, everything that anyone's going to ever do is going to be up to you. It's going to be up to you and you alone. You can sit inside of many classrooms, watch many videotapes as you want to, but if you don't do the work, then at the end of the matter, like they say, hey, as she's pointed out, you don't have to come back to this place. You can graduate. We can graduate, you know? And we all have a lot more to learn, even those who have ascended, because it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Even those who have ascended, you know, we have many passages to go and create, co-create with. Sit and learn again. Sit and learn more on top of that. Okay? And so that is my encouragement to you. To take your time and do it right. Learn the cycles. Learn the seeds of what you have and when to plant them, when to take them up. Because those things that define themselves by these laws in which is taught off, in which they have set up that we're sitting here talking about, that's just the basis. This is the basis. It's just the basis of anything. So that's what I would suggest. All right? All right, my people. My people, my friends, my compadres, my lovers, my haters. You guys go ahead and have a beautiful day. And we will talk to you soon. All right? Talk to you soon. Ciao, ciao.